they try to take on our customs where they're not the Jews. To be a Jew, you have to descend from Judah. It's a short abbreviation for the word Judah. So, as I said, it's about genealogy, where you descend from. Now, it's a thing where none of us can literally prove by record that we descend from a man called Judah or Israel. None of us have the physical records. That back in ancient times, in ancient Israel, a man had to have records to prove what tribe he came from.
Numbers 1:18.
This
is the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upwards. By their poles. Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upwards.
So he said the pedigrees. Can read that part again?
Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together.
The whole congregation together where?
On the first day of the second month.
Where?
And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers.
By the house of their fathers. So back then, we knew where we descended from because we had records showing our father's genealogy. Now this is Ezra chapter 2 verse 61. And of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Koz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called after their name. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. So they sought their register. So there was like a register, which told us our genealogy, where it said they weren't found. So they were put from the priesthood because they had no records to prove that they were from the tribe of Levi. But now, so how can we prove now that we're the Israelites? Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 16.
But no, not really.
Because we got no physical proof to show that, listen, I descend from Jacob. I descend from Benjamin. I descend from this guy. Well,
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord Yahweh will bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. And thou shalt see it no more again. And then ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Read it again, read it loud and clear, slowly.
Right, Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Yahweh, our God, will bring us into Egypt again by slave ships. Slave ships. This is the method in which our God will bring us into bondage, by ships. Where
says, I'll bring thee again into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. And thou shalt see it no more again.
Which land was that? That way that God spoke unto us was the land of Israel. That's why it's so difficult to let our people know that, listen, we originate from that land. Because we were raised up in the land of our captivities. America, Jamaica, Britain, England. And we were told that we were black, we're Africans. That's why it's so difficult to tell people, you are the Israelites.
Sorry, one question was, when it says Asher, is that where us Colombians, that's a tribe? Asher, yeah. Asher.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
I'm talking about the indigenous people of North, Central, and South America. Those indigenous people. And if you descend from those people on your father's side, you're an Israelite. Because you got the conquistadors, the Spaniards, that raped a lot of the women there and brought forth their children and sowed their seed among tribes. And those children that came from those incidents, those people are not our people.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee again into Egypt with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. No man shall buy you.
So that's, what's that? That's the transatlantic slave trade.
Ghana.
In the Bible. Before it even happened. It was already written that it would happen.
You're from Ghana, don't you? It's from Ghana.
Ghana, West Africa. Different countries in West Africa were taken as slaves by ships and sold to your enemies. So the Bible is now telling you who your enemies are. You got our people that say, no, but black people, we do evil towards one another, and I'm not knocking that. It's true. Our people are wicked as hell. But if you look at the big picture, we have an enemy as a nation. The very same people that we were sold to. Okay, these people have been devising our hurt for the longest.
I'm curious.
Why do you think the vaccination, they're targeting our people in Africa to vaccine them?
This is true, but I'm curious. Apparently, the people that first sold our people into slavery were black people themselves. Why is that? Why was that our own people that done that?
That's the
And if they're
curses.
sinners, then why don't they get...
54. You talking about our people sold their own people?
Yeah.
You mean the Nigerians sold their own people?
Yeah.
Well,
But
first,
they're not part of
but that's the
Israelite.
curses.
Oh, right, okay. That's why they say they're not part of Israelite.
The father was Jamaican, no, but
Is it that? Yeah, but I can kind of tell that. I can kind of tell. Well, you have to understand, well, if your father is an actual Edomite, so-called white man, yeah, it's not for you. Because it's all deciphered by the seed of man. The sperm. That's why the seed is also known as sperm. Yeah, it says on that ash.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children which he shall leave.
Read that again.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate,
Once upon a time, you were respectful. We had laws and commandments. You weren't the niggas that you see today. This culture, you see gangster culture. This is not how we once was. That's why part of coming to this truth is getting rid of that gangster shit, man. That old man. You gotta shed off that nonsense, man. You wanna say something?
right, Deuteronomy 28 verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother.
Now we're evil towards one another, screw facing one another. Yeah, you can just walk out your front house and get into beef with another nigga over nothing. You don't even know how it started, man. Over nonsense. Stabbing one another, killing one another. There's certain J's that spitting lyrics about killing your own people, man. But then if you try spitting lyrics about killing so-called white people, then you're gonna have a problem.
That's right.
So then why is it not a
But
thing?
it's okay to talk about killing your own.
So why is that thing in our communities, our own community, boosts it up, exaggerates it, puts it on a pedestal?
Exactly. Well, that's part of the
That's
curse.
our people, that's not white people.
Exactly. So you have to understand, our people, we suffer from jealousy, we envy one another. Okay?
So what's the solution to all of them type of things?
Say that again.
What's the solution to these problems?
Well, first we
For
gotta
our
understand that this is what's happening. These are evil spirits that's on us. It's not innate in us to be like this. Our people think that it's innate
So have we
for
been
black
cursed
people to
on?
be violent.
We've been cursed.
Our God has cursed us for disobedience. So first is understanding that there are evil spirits that's on us, that's making us do this. They're having all this envy and hate and trying to do evil to our brother. And then understanding who we are with the Israelites. So we're going to come out of that way. It's all to do with our people are destroyed because they have no knowledge. Get that Hosea 4 verse 6, if I'm not mistaken. Our people are destroyed because they have no knowledge. of themselves.
We've had so many prophets, Marcus Garvey, even Farrakhan, even Huey Newton, all these people, and it's always our own people that crush them, that say their voice is just ridicule, silly and stupid. Why is that?
Well, that's what I said. I understand that the truth wasn't with them. The truth was with the prophets. It's the prophets that would be bringing out this truth. All these other guys, a lot of them all sellouts.
Marcus Garvey is sellout.
They're all set. You have to understand. Martin Luther King.
Lucifer, you know. Yeah, I'm not true word about Lucifer.
Martin Luther King.
These guys.
About Lucifer.
No, they're sold out, man. These guys are part of the Blue Day.
I don't think Garvey sold out.
All these guys, they weren't prophets. The Most High, you have to understand, the Most High speaks through his prophets. Yeah? Those would be the leaders. The prophets were the leaders among our nation. When the king, before King David or any of our kings went to war, they always sought advice from the prophets.
Right,
and the prophets told them what the word of our God, because our God is a God of war.
Yeah, of course.
Calling the God of hosts. The word hosts means armies or troops. You understand? So the prophets were the advisors told us about.
So for our people, who is the leader for us? Who do we look to?
What do you mean?
Like our leader, who can we look to for inspiration?
This day.
Well, Yahweh Shai. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With truth says we're gonna wait upon. Well, let's get into it.
Isaiah 4:6.
Yeah, go on, get that.
Right, Isaiah 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Right. Well,
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
knowledge is here. The scripture says, I will feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Alright, brother.
Take it. Come back. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We had a couple of demons before. They were crazy demons. But the Most High gave one or two. You get what I mean? So read that again.
Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
Knowledge is power, man. Knowledge of who you are can also give you a sense of belonging, a sense of identity, a sense of direction. Because if you know you're an Israelite, you're part of God's chosen people, you realize that you have a destiny. Your destiny is not to be in here serving white people forever, killing one another, selling drugs to one another, doing all this low grade shit. You know, trying to be successful in the white man's world. Our destiny is to have a kingdom on planet Earth where we will be ruling over all people in peace and righteousness forever. We understand that these prophecies are talking about us, man. This is the gospel, the good news. What do you think Yahweh Shai and the apostles and the disciples were talking about when they were bringing out this gospel? The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent. Man, turn from your worldly ways and come back into who we were once were, man. Well, you'd be an Edomite. Give me when it says Esau is Edom.
Genesis 36.
Get that. And then give me Genesis 25.
Alright, Genesis 36 verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
Esau, who is Edom. That's the firstborn white man. First, what's the word I'm looking for? The progenitor of what is now called the white race. You came from somewhere. You didn't just plop out of the sky. You had the origin, Genesis.
Noah had 3 sons. Noah had 3 sons. One was black, one was Asian.
They were all
one
dark
was
skinned.
white.
Noah was a dark skinned man, and his sons were dark skinned.
That's when the different races came about. Before Noah, everyone was black.
Yeah, but give me Genesis 25.
Genesis 25
21.
21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife.
And Isaac entreated Yahweh, which is the name of God, Yahweh, for his wife, not Yahweh. And you can't call God whatever you want to call him. He has a name. And that's disrespectful. I can't call you whatever I want to call you. If I can't call you whatever I want to call you, his name is Yahweh. In ancient Hebrew, that's his name, Yahweh.
These people call airway.
No. You gotta know ancient Hebrew so to understand the name of
They
God.
said we call that by name. Airway, Yahweh. I'm telling you.
His name ain't Yahweh. I can't call you what I want to call you. That's you try that disrespectful. What's your name?
Keith.
It's if I called you Andrew. Okay, well, and then you try to say, no, my name's Keith. I said, no, man. You gonna think that's disrespectful.
No, but where do you get the name Yahweh? Yahweh. Where do you get that from?
Oh, that's why when you see the word Lord in capital letters in the Bible, capital L-O-R-D. When you go into the Hebrew, the word there, when you understand the Hebrew is Yahweh.
Where do you get your Hebrew from?
Look at the topic on the blue letter Bible. You don't know
If the Hebrew we talk about today, it's got to be in
Can I ask
Hebrew.
you a question? Okay, by that same logic, you can also say, where did we get English from?
No. The Hebrew we talk about today is not the original Hebrew. The Hebrew we talk about today is not the original Hebrew. I'm telling you, right? It's not talking to
Genesis 27 and 1. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren.
because she was barren, meaning she couldn't give birth, she couldn't conceive. But
And Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
right, because she had two children within her womb, and they were struggling together. There was some type of mayhem going on inside of her womb between those two children that was in her. Boy, read that again.
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Two nations, those two children are going to become two separate nations of people. Boy,
And 2 manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
2 manners of people shall be separated from your womb, your bowels. So that's separation. Boy,
And the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there are twins in her womb.
boy.
And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
Right, so that's the forefather of most so-called white people. So-called white, because they're not white. They're really red. Red. Okay? Because the blood shows forth through their skin. And the first came, read that part again.
And it says, and the first came out red, all over, like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
The firstborn child out of Rebecca's womb came out red all over. And his name was called Esau.
So Japheth.
So the people that's ruling planet Earth are the Edomites.
Yeah, but Japheth, was he not white as well? Noah's son, one of those.
he wasn't.
Ham, Shem, Japheth.
No, you have to understand, Esau came out red.
But Japheth, who was Japheth then?
He was the forefather of the Pacific Islanders, the
The
Samoans.
Europeans, he was the forefather of the Europeans.
No, the
European Aramaeans, that's what he
people
died.
of Japheth, they lived in Europe. They lived in Europe
So they were
before
black, they
the
were
white
black.
man got there. The white man got there and then kicked them out of Europe. You understand?
Who was Japheth? Was he black then? Is that what you're saying?
Say that again?
Was he black? Was he black?
Who? Japheth? Yes, he was a dark skinned man. He was the forefather of the Samoans, the Hawaiians. You don't know.
That's where the race started. That's where the
Give
race
me
started.
2 Ezra 6 and 7, it says Esau was the end of the world. Because you have to understand that the people who call themselves white are not white. The color white represents righteousness, purity, clean. And the word black represents something that's filthy or immoral or base, something that's low or ignorance. That's what, or death. That's what the word black, that's why they put that stigma on us as being black people and them as being white people.
2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. Then I answered and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? And when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born.
Jacob and Esau were born, bro.
of him. Jacob's hand first held the heel of Esau.
Come on,
Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of
Oh,
the
sorry.
following.
So Esau is the end of this world. So that's indicating something. That the people who's in power right now is Esau. The red people. Remember it said that Esau came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. It said that this precept there said that the end of this world is Esau. So yeah, these people, they're claiming themselves to be the Jews. They're saying that that land is Israel, that's their land, and they're the chosen people. Where it said that Esau is the end of this world. So those very same people who are claiming to be us, those people are in fact the Edomites. They're not Jacob. They're trying to claim themselves to be us, the Israel, but they're not. They're Esau, they're the Edomites.
Revelation chapter 2.
Well, your father died from here. Because you have to understand, yeah? Because I'm gonna right, so if he's a pure-blooded white man, that means yeah, he'd be doesn't matter. Your mother doesn't matter.
The father gives the seed. Seed to the father, not mother. See, the father gives the mother the seed. So the seed comes to the man.
Yeah. She conceives seed from your father. So like for example, if I plant an apple seed in the ground, it's going to be an apple tree. Like that.
Seed within the man. It's only within the man. No matter what about that.
You're not white, you're Edomite. So what you physically look like doesn't matter. For example, you got people that look like our people, black, dark skin, woody hair, darker than me. You think that person more black than but then when you find out where he descends from, his forefather was the slave master. So that makes him an Edomite, even though he looks like one of us. Do you understand? So it's not about outward appearance or skin color, because you have our people that look like white people. Because our people are scattered. Give me Isaiah 11:11. Our people are scattered. So you got our people looking like other races of people because we've intermarried among them, had children with them. If I have sex with a white woman, right, I breed up the white woman, I shoot the covenant, yeah? And then she conceives seed and become pregnant, and she give birth to my son. My son will probably look like a white man. Could be. Might have blonde hair even. Might even. But that child is of me. So that child is an Israelite, even though he might look like a white child. The Edomites. Give me there's all kind of scriptures coming to my head. Give me the scripture first. What's
Isaiah 11:11.
Give me that first, and then we get into the Edomite.
Isaiah 11:11. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant of his people.
To recover the remnant of our people. Where
which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt.
so our people are, you got our people that are left in Syria, in Egypt, right to this day. So our people are in Egypt. Right now. Do they look like black people? No, they look like the Arab people. But they're Israelites because of where they descend from. They descend from a man called Yasharla or Israel in English, so you understand. Go ahead.
And from Egypt, and from Paphos, and from Cush.
And from Cush. Where's Cush? That's in East Africa. So you got our people among them damn Ethiopians, man. Speaking Ethiopian. Thinking that they're Ethiopian. But they're Israelites. Go ahead.
And
Because of where they descend from. Go ahead.
And from Elam.
From Elam. Who Elam? Elam is the East Indians. You got our people scattered in East India. And they're called the Dalits or the Untouchables, man. They actually look down on them. In India. You got our people over there. Yeah. You know? Our people are scattered. You got people in Korea, Japan,
China's not, you know.
that it can even speak Japanese. You know, I've got people in Holland, Spain, Portugal, but a lot of them look like white people. You know? Our people are scattered. That's part of the curses, did you know? If a part of people were scattered, the scripture says that when the house is divided against itself, how can the house stand? We're divided, we're scattered, we're dispersed, we're destroyed as a people. Our God has destroyed us.
Continue on.
Yeah.
It says, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hama, and from the islands of the sea.
The islands of the sea. So that's even in Samoa. Our people are in the islands of the sea, man. Even places like Jamaica, Trinidad, where
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel,
assemble the outcasts of Israel, where
and gather together the dispersed of Judah,
and gather together the dispersed of Judah, where,
from the four corners of the earth.
and from the four corners of this world, man. This is going to be a global, international deliverance. A phenomenon, man, an occurrence that shall be written down throughout all ages, man. It's going to be the greatest deliverance that this world has ever seen. The scripture says that behold, he cometh from clouds, and every eye shall see him. Everybody's going to see the chariots of God, man. And the elect being beamed up into these chariots, being saved from this great nuclear holocaust, man, which in the Bible is referred to as the second death. Because the first death was what? The flood. The flood, man. And even to this day, you go to Turkey, there's an actual tourist attraction. It's called the Valley of Hate over there in Turkey. And the remains of the ark is on Mount Ararat, man. Look into it. So the flood actually happened. The second death that's going to take place, that's going to end this global reign of wickedness, is the nuclear destruction. We're going to get into that. Go on.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart.
That's enough. Give me Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14, because you said what's the destiny of Edom?
Okay. 14:1.
Yeah.
Isaiah chapter 14 verse 1. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel.
Right, because we just read about it. He will gather together the dispersed of Judah. That's God, our God having mercy on us. I will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. It doesn't say God is going to choose everybody on planet Earth. If I can just believe, then I can be saved. No, you can believe what you want to. You can keep the commandments, but if you are not an Israelite, you're not going to make it. That's why you should count yourself blessed to be an Israelite, to be one of these people, man. It's a blessing, man. To be a so-called black man is a blessing. Because your destiny is written within the Bible. You're destined to rule over all people. Read.
While will yet will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land.
See that? We're going to have our own land, finally. You know what I mean? We're not going to be in the land of our captivities, but I said we will set them in their own land. Meaning, brothers, you will have land. This brother's going to have land. I'm going to have land. This brother. Hopefully, if you're the elect, if your father don't descend from one of our people, then but this whole, you gotta hope and pray that you're one of us, man. You know, that's all I can say. 'Cause I can't find out where your father. Well, it's about faith, because none of us here can have the records to prove that we go all the way back to Israel. So that's why the scripture says we're justified by faith. It's faith that got us here. that believing that we are the Israelites. Even though the scriptures show and indicate who God's chosen people are. That they went into slavery, scattered, eyes evil towards one another. These are all signs to indicate who the Israelites are. But none of us can prove it physically. So it's all by faith, really. You know? What did it say? Hebrews 11:1. Let's continue on.
Isaiah, back in Isaiah 1:14 verse 1. And Yahweh will yet have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob.
What's that talking about? The strangers. The strangers is talking about our people that are scattered to the four corners, that look like other nations. They're going to come onto this thing and they're going to believe. That's another hurdle, man. Not every Israelite is going to come looking like one of us. You got Israelites looking like so-called white people. Israelites looking like East Indians. Israelites looking like Chinese. But their forefathers descend from so-called blacks and Native American Indians.
And it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants, for handmaids.
So we're going to have servants and handmaids. This is prophecy. Something that shall come to pass. Something that hasn't happened yet, because we're not in our own land right now. We're not in our own land. And the scripture, the prophecy say that when Israel is in their land, right? When the real Israelites is in their land, there's going to be peace on earth. There's going to be no more war. So we know those people in Israel are not the real Israelites. We know this. So the Israelites are still scattered there, ready and waiting for their Messiah. So that's us. We're waiting for our Lord to return. Right? And it said that we're going to have servants, man, when we get in that land. You're going to have servants. You know what that's not going to feel to have servants, to have men bowing down to you? You know you got our people that don't want that. They don't want to have servants. Our people are so slave-minded, man. We're so used to serving white people and giving our love to other races of people that they can't imagine the idea of having other races bow down to them, man.
Yes, master.
They can't imagine that. They don't even want that. The idea of that is that I don't want to stay. So they feel that, let me say that. They feel like that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. If I have somebody bow down to me, they feel like that means I'm no better than white people. Because white people enslaved me, so it would be bad if I enslaved them. That's how they think. But they don't understand a ruling class mentality. You were set up to rule over other people. That's why you was created, to execute the laws and commandments internationally, that all people will serve our God. You were set up to execute the laws and commandments of God in this earth. This is why you was created. Hold on. This is let me get Isaiah. I know it's in Isaiah. Where you find it?
I've got Ecclesiastes 12:13.
Hold on. Read on, read it. No, I'm good. Isaiah 43 verse 21. This people, meaning us, this people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. Right? But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Read that again. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my